All right, third time's a charm. I have shot 3 videos today, and all of them have not gone through. So, I woke up this morning. Yesterday was quite emotional for me. My mom, essentially, in so many words, I asked her some questions, and she essentially thinks that I'm arrogant for me posting videos of me talking for 40 minutes at a time, and that like I'm self-absorbed and stuff like that. Mom, if you see this, I love you, but I'm gonna do me. And so yesterday was hard. I asked some questions to her and I just said like, "Okay, well, do you think someone who has a podcast and they're talking for 40 minutes, that they're arrogant?" And she didn't really have anything to say to that. I'm like, "Well, that's kind of what I'm doing." And it's interesting because I've worked with a lot of people and I've had the humility to pay a tremendous amount of money for coaches and people to tell me where my weaknesses are. And I've been told by many people that because of my upbringing and my past, and even my soul's mission, I had to go through a tremendous amount of pain to be able to transmute it and to convey it in a way in which there's humility, but there's also power to it. And one of my mentors told me, he said, "You're going to be called arrogant when you're most in your power." And so, as I've posted almost 30 videos in a month, every day just vulnerably showing up as I am and practicing speaking my truth and being honest with myself to the point where I'm telling things that I normally wouldn't ever tell people. It's been life changing for me. It's been incredible. It has really allowed me to step into understanding the essence of who I am and the power and the strength that I hold. And this guy told me people are going to call me arrogant. And so there's a huge wound about not wanting to be that ever. And so I would walk into a room and I would belittle myself and I would shut down and I would be a shell of a human so that I wouldn't ever make other people feel small. But what I'm realizing is that's not my responsibility for to make people feel bigger. That's their responsibility if they want to feel bigger. It's not my responsibility to not share and express who I really am so that people can feel comfortable. That's actually not what I want at all. I've been around incredible people who have helped me expand who I am as a human being by making me uncomfortable by being around them because there were parts of me that needed to change. And so now when I hear people are telling me I'm being arrogant, I usually ask where that's coming from and I try and understand it. And I do it in a way where I'm not on guard or anything like that. But usually when I do some digging, um, people are calling me arrogant when I'm just speaking my truth and I'm being authentic to myself. And I think the fear for many people is that they're actually allowed to do that too. So um just really interesting all the stuff that I've learned in the past 30 days about myself and what I'm meant to do. But I woke up after feeling really terrible yesterday. I woke up to a message on YouTube from a guy who essentially said, "This video was sent to me and I was very close to ending it and I'm very glad I saw this video." And I saw that and I didn't feel like, "Oh yeah, I'm so cool because I did that." I just felt a reminder of why I'm here and why I'm expressing myself. It was a beautiful reminder because last night I had all this self-doubt. I was going back into old patterns about shriveling up and just being small so that people don't see me, so I don't make them feel uncomfortable. And I was reminded that that's not who I am and that's not who I'm going to be. It's not doing anyone any good. I came down here on this earth in this lifetime to remind people what it's like to be able to authentically live from the expression of truth. And so it's not my job to make other people feel comfortable. And through seeing this comment this morning, it was a reminder, despite me having doubts last night, to just keep doing it, to keep being me and to keep sharing. Because if some people that I know are uncomfortable with me speaking my truth, but then I've got other people that I don't even know, I've never met, they're potentially on another continent, and they're saying, "Logan, thank you so much for your video. I was gonna, I was gonna delete myself from this existence, and your video helped me." Well, which voice is gonna be louder for me? The one of tremendous impact, saving someone's life just through a video, and not saving, but supporting them and making a decision not to delete themselves, or is it going to be louder that my mom or someone I knew from high school doesn't like what I'm doing? Well, my old self would put those people first, and I don't need to do that anymore, and you don't either. Don't let anyone stop you from your mission. The thing is, when you get closer to God and your mission and what you're meant to do here, you're gonna have people coming out of the woodwork doing everything they can to pull you back down. This is called crabs in a bucket. When crabs are getting pulled up from a net, their instinct is to pull the other crab down so they can get ahead. Well, what ends up happening is all the crabs up top get pulled down and all the crabs get stuck together and none of them get out. So understanding that you don't want to let crabs pull you back down. Just get out of the bucket. Go do your thing, and go do it in a way in which people are going to throw stones at you. But just know that those people who are throwing stones at you don't have the courage you have. They don't have the balls and the ovaries you have to express yourself freely. And don't take it personally. Like it's not fun for me to know that my mom doesn't support my path right now. What do we all want as kids? We want acceptance from our parents. But it's actually not my job to project onto my mom how I want her to treat me. Can I set boundaries and tell her what I expect and what I want? Yes, but it's not my job to change her behavior. Only she can do that. My job is to focus on my own internal state and how I want to keep showing up. And so I choose to keep shooting videos. And as I've been shooting these videos in the past 30 days, I've had a lot of people come out of the woodworks and on very spicy, controversial topics, they'll project their insecurities or their own darkness or their own fears onto my mission and saying that, like, essentially I need to stop doing what you're doing. What you're doing is wrong. XYZ. It's not safe. Yada yada. Well, it's my life. It's my life. Go live your life. Go live your life. Don't don't be a person who accepts the frame of other people, of society telling you how to live. This is why people self-delete, because they're put on earth for a specific reason. If you believe that you're here for a specific reason, well, it should be your everyday mission to get closer to what it is you're supposed to do that's unique to you. And so the people that self-delete usually get caught in traps of doing everything for everyone else. My coworker Brian, when I was a nurse in the intensive care unit, this guy worked himself to the bone. He was probably the least liked person on the unit because he was so negative, but nobody could see how much pain he was in. We all knew he was in pain because of how he acted, but a lot of people, myself included, were just like, "Oh, he's just an asshole." But we didn't know that he was going to delete himself. I walk into work one day on a cold October morning in my jacket, tired, on my third cup of coffee already at like 5 a.m. And our lead nurse pulls us into the room, and with very somber eyes, she says, "Yeah, our colleague Brian took his life." And Brian is the reason I'm here now, because I was one of the few people to speak at his memorial service. And I remember all the coworkers just kind of like very numb. And a lot of us had survivor's guilt because we were all like, well, we should have been able to stop it. We're nurses. We're the people who see this stuff. How did we not see it? But none of us could stop it because Brian had already made his decision. He made it long ago. The sad part is I had Brian's closest friend sent me the letter that Brian had written to his family, and that letter included information related to how his life just kept getting worse. He got put on pharmaceuticals. He ended up developing a condition because of the pharmaceuticals, and it just kept spiraling, spiraling, spiraling. And what Brian failed to do was step back from the situation and stop taking it so seriously and just ask himself what he really wanted. If he had the self-compassion to ask himself what he really wanted and to have the courage to make that change, he would have stopped working so much. But he wasn't equipped with the skill set or even the strength and the tenacity to fight for his life. And so the pain got so dense and dark, what his body did was shut itself down, and he became extremely apathetic and extremely negative, and he could not see the silver lining. And so what ended up happening was he chose to work himself to the bone, become even more apathetic, and the only way he could ever feel anything was to finally decide to leave. And I've had a couple of people who I've really cared about delete themselves. Juice WRLD, I love that guy. Saw him in concert in San Francisco. Very great artist. Some would say he overdosed. I would say he ran himself into the grave. If you listen to his music, he had demons that he was afraid to face. Another mentor of mine, Tom Torero, he was a dating coach. I met him in person in Santa Monica. He became very good with women, and he was one of the best teachers ever. He was actually a kindergarten teacher before, and he went through so much darkness and a lack of love from humanity that he got really good with women. But he got good with women, and it was filling this void by covering it up. And he never addressed his root wounds, which was just a lack of self-love. And so he ended up offing himself when life got hard. And life will get hard for us as men. We will be met with trials and tribulations. I know many men who end up getting divorced and they lose their children. And there's a decision to make for every man when things get hard. Do we throw in the towel and self-delete, or do we decide to live another day? And that's a conscious choice every day. Through these people I cared about leaving, Brian in particular, the first one, he showed me. Actually, Juice WRLD died. Oh no, it was around the same time. But he showed me. Brian showed me how dark it could get, and I realized if I had continued down the route I was going down, when Brian took his life, I knew that I could go that dark because I knew I was human. We're all human. And if we don't take back control, take back the reins of our existence, life will happen to us and we become victims. We have to have the courage to no longer be cowards and to face our fears and really take back the essence of what it means to exist, which means I have these deep dreams and desires that I want to fulfill. Do I love myself enough to go see if I can make it happen? We don't have to make our dreams happen, but we have to at least try. And through trying, we become different people. And our dreams actually, especially when we connect to God, our dreams become completely different than we could have ever imagined. So to the guy who made the comment on YouTube, I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm not going to try and convince you not to make a decision because it's not my decision. I have found a lot of people on online forums and stuff who talk about thinking about self deletion. Sometimes they are looking for attention and validation to be told not to do it. Well, with Brian, he didn't ever tell anyone. The people that you should be really worried about with self deletion, this is why it's really interesting with all of these therapists and stuff. They'll tell you these signs of people who are going to take their life, but the people who are actually going to do it, they already have a plan. They've written it out. They've got the notes down. They've already gone to the lawyers and everything, and they've changed things around, and they have a date picked out, and they won't tell anyone. So the people who are usually telling people that they're about to end it, from what I've seen, usually aren't there yet. But what will happen if you continue to every day perpetuate and tell people online, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, eventually you do it. Juice WRLD sang about his demons and how he was going to die one day from overdose over and over and over again in his music to the point where it happened. So if you continue to perpetuate the myth that existence is painful without doing anything about it, you will get that result. The only way through this is to realize that life does have pain and sorrow and grief and apathy and negative emotions that we don't want to feel. But when we accept them and choose to say, hey, I can make choices to make myself 1% better, 0.001% better. I don't feel good today, but I'm going to go on a walk. When we make these choices, we get out of those states. And it can only happen by empowering yourself to make those decisions. So if you want to be in a group of men who are empowered and are making conscious choices every day to get up and do the work, to become better men, then consider joining Ubuntu Fellowship below. It's a community that we put together. It's a philanthropic men's community where we give 50% of the proceeds back to organizations that are impacting our communities. And it's a fun group. Great guys in there. Everyone is in there getting after it and getting on their edge to become better men. And through this, we become better leaders for ourselves, for our families, for our kids, for our spouses, and for everyone that we come in contact with. And through that, the world becomes a better place. So if you're interested, click the link below and I'll see you in there later.